Good evening everyone, if you're sat there waiting for the quiz. The quiz will be starting at 7:30 tonight, so about 9-10 minutes time. Look forward to joining you shortly. It's not a very nice night outside, it's a bit windy out there, it's been a bit wet, and there's just been football on the TV. So what can be better than to join us for our quiz night and to maybe learn something? I seem to learn more each week, all the questions I can't answer and find out the answers to, and I'm trying to retain them all in case they come up again. But make sure you've got your pencil and pens and paper ready. Usual sort of routine of 3 rounds tonight. We have 1 round with a difference, which I'll explain when we get going. So see you around about 7:30. Good evening everyone. If you've just joined us, we'll make a start at 7:30 in about 5 minutes time. Just make sure you've got your paper and your pens and pencils to the ready. And if you fancy a bit of a odd glass of white wine or red wine or a gin and tonic and some peanuts or some crisps to make yourself comfortable and have a good evening, then you've just got time to pour yourself a glass and get those crisps ready, and we'll be with you in 3 or 4 minutes. Try that. There we go. Good evening everyone. I think I've got my microphone on, so that's good. Always a help, isn't it? Lots of switches and sliders and things and what's-its, but I think we're there. Good evening. Welcome to our quiz evening. It's Saturday night again, isn't it? People are still connecting, which is good, so I'll give them a couple of meters. Good evening, Les, Janet, Who else we got? Les, Janet, Rachel, Lorna. I've got to say a special hello to Nana Winder from Cumbria. Tracy's asked me to do that. So Nana Winder, welcome to our quiz tonight up in Cumbria. And welcome to anybody else as well. But I did say I would say hello. Usual quiz tonight, 3 rounds. We have got a rather different middle round again tonight. And I'm actually going to have a go at the middle round myself because I haven't looked at the answers. See how I do. Middle round tonight has been prepared by Jeff Rivers. So a big thank you to Jeff. Hopefully that will go okay. Other than that, we'll have 2 standard rounds from my great big quiz book that often gets the answers wrong, as we know. But hey ho, it's all for fun, so it doesn't really matter. We'll have a bit of a debate on the questions if we think the book's wrong, which does occasionally happen. Of course, the problem is that the books are produced and it's probably 3 or 4 years old, so some of the things are out of date in it anyway. So we have to sort of use our common sense with some of it. Somebody's got a glass of Merlot and some peanuts. That's Doug and Maureen. Well done, Doug and Maureen. I see Michael Gill's got a glass of wine, I think he said as well. Malcolm, good evening. Jane, good evening. Seamus, good evening. Andrew, good evening. Lisa, oh, they're all coming in now. Goodness, we won't be able to fit them all in, will we? If we get any more in, we'll be all a bit squashed up. But we can fit a few more in tonight because the social distancing has gone down from 2 metres to 1 metre. So we should be able to get a few more in our quiz room. Yes, we won't be squeezing up outside anywhere. Not like they've been doing on Bournemouth Beach. Because we don't want to get any of those nasty viruses, do we? Right, we've still got some people joining, so I'm going to give them a couple of minutes so that we don't start with 8 people. I hope you've all had a reasonable weekend so far. The weather hasn't been too brilliant. It seems to go from sunshine to wind and rain. But I don't know what we're going to get tomorrow, whether we'll get some nice weather tomorrow or not. I don't know if you saw our news programme earlier tonight, but if you haven't and you're interested, please do go to our YouTube channel or look in our Facebook group. Every Saturday at 6 o'clock we do a little news programme. Yes, we do cover some bits from the church, but tonight we also mentioned Armed Forces Day and showed some video from the Red Arrows filmed earlier today. And we also did a piece on Thomas Fowell Buxton, a bit of a history bit. The guy whose name was taken to name Buxton Road, and lots of people don't know where that came from, so we did a little piece on Thomas Fowell Buxton today. So that's all available on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook group, and it also goes out on Twitter as well. So if you're always free at any time on a Saturday at 6 o'clock any week, do pop along and do listen to our news programme. It runs for about 40 minutes live every Saturday evening. I say we do cover a few bits from the church, but most of it is general community stuff or general news stuff, and try to do something a bit different that's on the BBC News, where these days the BBC, ITV and Sky seem to take a news topic and absolutely do it to death with the same 2 or 3 points, and they repeat it every 15 minutes. What we try to do is we try to go into something in a bit of depth, 5-6 minutes, and make it a bit more interesting. So try us for an alternative to the BBC and the ITV and Sky if you're free at 6 o'clock on a Saturday evening. Right, the numbers seem to have settled down, so I think we will make a start. Our first round tonight is History Who's Who. So it's all about people in history. Let me see if I can find my ruler so I don't lose my... No, somebody's nicked my ruler. Oh no, somebody's nicked the Quizmaster's ruler. Oh, there it is. I got it. It's in the window. Right, we are saved. The Quizmaster's ruler has been found. It helps me not wander off down the page and read the wrong question. Okay, so are we ready then? Round 1, 30 questions. If you haven't joined us before, It's quite simple. I read out 30 questions in round 1. I'll read them a couple of times as I go through. Then when we get to the end of the 30, I will come back and I will go through them once more quickly, because I know sometimes there's a bit of a blip on the internet line and people miss part of a question, or they don't know the answer, and then as they go through they think, oh, what was that question? I think I might know the answer to that. So it's helpful to come back and read them through again. So that's how it works. You write the answers down on your piece of paper. Then when we read the answers out, you mark them yourself, and we trust you to do that. And then we just pop up the scores on the Facebook chat if you're on Facebook, so we just see how anybody's done. There's no prizes. It doesn't matter if you get 3 out of 30 or 30 out of 30. It's just for a bit of fun, and hopefully we're all learning something as we go along. I know certainly the weeks I've been doing this, it must be about week 14 or 15. There's been lots of questions, about, well, 90 questions each week. So, you know, we've had something like 1,400 questions we've asked, so we must be learning something as we go along. So we'll start with our first round then, which is History Who's Who. And our first question is, who was British monarch throughout the Second World War? The questions are picked at random, so I just pick and open the book. I don't check the questions to see whether I know the answers or not. So some weeks they are a good set of questions and other weeks they're not. So the first question, number 1, who was British monarch throughout the Second World War? Okay, number 2, which US president was assassinated at the theatre? Which US president was assassinated at the theatre? Number 3, which ruler was stabbed to death in Rome in March 44 BC? Which ruler was stabbed to death in Rome in March 44 BC? Number 4, who was Queen Elizabeth I's husband? Who was Queen Elizabeth I's husband? Number 5, who led the British forces at the Battle of Waterloo? Who led the British forces at the Battle of Waterloo? Number 6, who was Queen of England for 9 days? Who was Queen of England for 9 days? Number 7, which monarch was forced to sign the Magna Carta? Which monarch was forced to sign the Magna Carta? Number 8, which teenage girl led the French army against the English in the 15th century? Which teenage girl led the French army against the English in the 15th century? Number 9, who was Henry VIII's first wife? Who was Henry VIII's first wife? Number 10, who was the famous general killed at Khartoum? Who was the famous general killed at Khartoum? Number 11, which King Henry ordered the murder of Thomas Becket? Which King Henry ordered the murder of Thomas Becket? Number 12, which unpleasant sounding Ivan was crowned first Tsar of Russia? Which unpleasant-sounding Ivan was crowned the first Tsar of Russia? Number 13. What was the name of the first King of England and Scotland? What was the name of the first King of England and Scotland? Number 14. Who was the younger PM who introduced income tax? Who was the younger PM who introduced income tax? Number 15. From 1714 to 1830, all British monarchs were called what? From 1714 to 1830, all British monarchs were called what? So that's halfway through the first round. I wonder how you're doing tonight. Is this an easy round for you? Do you know your history? Do you know your famous people in history? Or is this one that you struggle with? I never did history at school. Only obviously in the first 2 years at senior school, and then I did geography. So I'm not a great buff on history, although I do find it quite interesting, and I do like to read up on things that I come across. How are you doing tonight? Is this a good round for you or not? Number 16. Who had his tomb in the Valley of Kings discovered in the 1920s? Who had his tomb in the Valley of Kings discovered in the 1920s? Somebody's doing well. That's good. That's what we like to hear. Number 17. Who was the famous captain of the ship the Golden Hind? Who was the famous captain of the ship the Golden Hind? Number 18. Inigo Jones followed which profession? Inigo, that's Inigo, not Indiana Jones, okay? Inigo Jones followed which profession? Inigo Jones followed which profession? Number 19. Who were massacred by the Campbells at Glencoe? Who were massacred by the Campbells at Glencoe? Next question, you've got a 50% chance of getting right. So if you're doing pretty poor, you might get this one right. You've got 50% chance of getting it right. Of British monarchs, have more been called William or Edward? Of British monarchs, have more been called William or Edward? Number 21. Now this one should be a reasonably easy one. In which battle was Admiral Horatio Nelson fatally wounded? In which battle was Admiral Horatio Nelson fatally wounded? Number 22. Who took the rap for the failed plot? I think that should be plot. It says pot here, P-O-T. Who took the rap for the failed plot to blow up James I? Mind you, it could be failed pot, couldn't it? It could be a pot that's failed, but I think it's a plot in this case. Who took the rap for the failed plot to blow up James I? Number 23. By what name was Richard I known? By what name was Richard I known? Number 24. How did Charles I die? How did Charles I die? Number 25. Whom does the Albert Hall in London commemorate? Whom does the Albert Hall in London commemorate? That's number 25. Number 26. To which monarch did Nell Gwyn display her oranges? To which monarch did Nell Gwyn display her oranges? Number 27. Which William ordered the building of the Tower of London? Which William ordered the building of the Tower of London? Number 28. Which Queen Marie lost her head in the French Revolution? Which Queen Marie lost her head in the French Revolution? Number 29. King George II gave his name to which American state? King George II gave his name to which American state? And 30, the final question in this round, and I say we will whip through them one more time before we do the answers. Which monarch has ruled longest in the UK? Which monarch has ruled longest in the UK? Now that's our first round. Having read them a couple of times, have a whip down through your sheet, see which ones you need to check on the way through, the ones you couldn't answer, or the ones you weren't sure about, and in a second or so I shall whip through them one more time for you. So, are we ready then for a final one time through? Number 1. Who was British monarch throughout the Second World War? Number 2. Which US president was assassinated at the theatre? Number 3. Which ruler was stabbed to death in Rome in March 44 BC? Number 4. Who was Queen Elizabeth I's husband? Number 5. Who led the British forces at the Battle of Waterloo? Number 6. Who was Queen of England for 9 days? Number 7. Which monarch was forced to sign the Magna Carta? Number 8. Which teenage girl led the French army against the English in the 15th century? Number 9. Who was Henry VIII's first wife? Number 10. Who was the famous general killed at Khartoum? Number 11. Which King Henry ordered the murder of Thomas Becket? Number 12. Which unpleasant-sounding Ivan was crowned first Tsar of Russia? Number 13. What was the name of the first King of England and Scotland? Number 14. Who was the younger PM who introduced income tax? Number 15. From 1714 to 1830, all British monarchs were called what? Number 16. Who had his tomb in the Valley of Kings discovered in the 1920s? Number 17. Who was the famous captain of the ship the Golden Hind? Number 18. Inigo Jones followed which profession? Number 19. Who were massacred by the Campbells at Glencoe? Number 20. Of British monarchs, have more been called William or Edward? Number 21. In which battle was Admiral Horatio Nelson fatally wounded? Number 22. Who took the rap for the failed plot to blow up James I? Number 23. By what name was Richard I known? Number 24. How did Charles I die? Number 25. Whom does the Albert Hall in London commemorate? Number 26. To which monarch did Nell Gwyn display her oranges? Number 27. Which William ordered the building of the Tower of London? 28. Which Queen Marie lost her head in the French Revolution? King George II gave his name, number 29, to which American state? Number 30. Which monarch has ruled the longest in the UK? So that is our first 30 questions. I will now get the answers. Oh, drop the answers to the next round. There we go. So, are you ready to mark your own questions? Trusting you to do it honestly and not say that you got 30 out of 30 when you only actually got 3. So, here we go. Number 1. Who was the British monarch throughout the Second World War? George VI. George VI. Number 2. Which US president was assassinated at the theatre? It was Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln for number 2. Number 3. Which ruler was stabbed to death in Rome in March 44 BC? That was Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, number 3. Number 4. Who was Queen Elizabeth I's husband? That's an interesting one. What have you got for this one? The answer is no one. She didn't have a husband. So no one, number 4. Number 5. Who led the British forces at the Battle of Waterloo? The Duke of Wellington. Number 5. The Duke of Wellington. Number 6. Who was Queen of England for 9 days? It was Lady Jane Grey. Number 6. Lady Jane Grey. Number 7. Which monarch was forced to sign the Magna Carta? It was King John. King John. Number 8. Which teenager girl led the French army against the English in the 15th century? It was Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc. Number 9. Who was Henry VIII's first wife? It was Catherine of Aragon. Catherine of Aragon. Number 10. Who was the famous general killed at Khartoum? It was General Gordon. General Gordon. Number 11. Which King Henry ordered the murder of Thomas of Becket? It was Henry II. Henry II. Number 12. Which unpleasant sounding Ivan was crowned first Tsar of Russia? It was the Terrible. Ivan the Terrible. Nice name for Tsar of Russia, isn't it? Ivan the Terrible. Number 13. What was the name of the first King of England and Scotland? It was James. James. Number 13. Number 14. Who was the younger PM who introduced income tax? It was William Pitt. William Pitt, or Pitt the Younger. Number 15. From 1714 to 1830, all British monarchs were called what? The answer is George. George, number 15. Number 16. Who had his tomb in the Valley of Kings discovered in the 1920s? That was Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun, or King Tut, as some people call him. I'll accept either. Number 17. Who was the famous captain of the ship the Golden Hind? It was Francis Drake. Francis Drake, number 17. Inigo Jones followed which profession? I say Inigo, not Indiana Jones. Inigo Jones, number 18, was an architect. An architect, number 18. Number 19, who were massacred by the Campbells at Glencoe? The MacDonalds. So I do apologise to the MacDonalds that are listening tonight, but the answer to number 19 was the MacDonalds were massacred by the Campbells at Glencoe. Thankfully, they didn't massacre all of them, because we've got a couple in the parish who are very nice people who help us out with all sorts of things and help us with the intercessions and prayers and whatever. So we're glad that they didn't massacre them all. Number 20. Of British monarchs, have more been called William or Edward? What do you reckon? Are there more Williams or more Edwards as monarchs? There are more Edwards. Edwards is the answer to number 20. Number 21. In which battle was Admiral Horatio Nelson fatally wounded? I'm sure you all got this one. Absolutely, didn't you? Trafalgar. Trafalgar. Number 22. Who took the rap for the failed plot to blow up James I? It definitely wasn't a pot, it was a plot. Who took the rap for the failed plot to blow up James I? And we celebrate it on the 5th of November each year. It was Guy Fawkes. Guy Fawkes. Of course, he was just one of many, wasn't he, that was involved in the gunpowder plot. Number 23. By what name was Richard I known? The Lionheart. Lionheart, or Coeur de Lion. If you want it in French, I presume that is. Coeur de Lion, or Coeur de Lion. Lionheart, number 23. Number 24. How did Charles I die? Well, he was beheaded. He was beheaded. 24, beheaded. Number 25. Whom does the Albert Hall in London commemorate? It was Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's husband. So Prince Albert, number 25. Number 26. To which monarch did Nell Gwyn display her oranges? It was Charles II. Charles II, number 26. Number 27. Which William ordered the building of the Tower of London? It was William the Conqueror. The first, it says. Does that mean there were two William Conquerors? It says here, William the Conqueror, in brackets, the first. So there must have been two William the Conquerors, mustn't there? Number 28. Which Marie lost her head in the French Revolution? It was Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette. Number 29. King George II gave his name to which American state? It was Georgia. Georgia. Number 29. And finally, number 30. Which monarch has ruled the longest in the UK? Now again, I think this is one where the book is wrong, because it says Queen Victoria. I believe that that has been superseded by Queen Elizabeth II. But please tell me if you think I'm wrong. I believe that is one that the book is wrong, because it was done 3 or 4 years ago, and I think the longest serving monarch in the UK or in England is Queen Elizabeth II. Does anybody want to confirm that for me? This is where I could ask Siri, so let's see what Siri says. Who is the longest serving monarch in the UK?
Here's what I found.
Yeah, so here we go. Queen Elizabeth II became the longest reigning British monarch on the 9th of September. 9th of September when? 2015. So there we go. Queen Elizabeth II is the longest serving monarch. She became the longest reigning British monarch on the 9th of September 2015, when she surpassed the reign of her great-great-grandmother Victoria. There we go. So I thought I was right with that. So how are we doing? We got 20, 17, 30. Oh, Cassie, well done. 28, Yvonne. 17, 20, 29. Oh, some good scores tonight. You're very up on your history. I'm impressed. 27, Janet, 29, Angela, 27, the Rivers, 30, the Thomases, 27, Felicity, 23, Angela, 30, Denise, 23. Not bad, Denise. Richard, Franklin, and Kate, 30. Well done, everyone. Well, that was a good round to start with, wasn't it? Let's see what we can do with round 2. And I have to tell you, I don't know the answers to round 2. Jeff has given me the round, and he's given me the answers, and I haven't played the answers. So I'm going to play along here as well to round 2 and see how well I do. And then you can all say, yeah, that's why you're the quiz master, because you're no good at answering the questions. So round 2 is a video round. And we've got a video with the questions in, and then we've got a video with the answers in, and it's a video of domes, and the idea is, and I think it says on the video, that you need to say what the dome is and where it is. I think I'm right in saying that, but it will come up on the first video what we need to do. So I'm going to play along at home. There are 21 in this round, not 30. So it's a little bit different. Jeff took a long time to put this together, and he ran out of domes. So we've only got up to 21. So there will be a picture on the screen and obviously the number. And I think we need to say what the dome is and where it is, but it will tell us on the screen. So I'm going to run the video now. There's some pleasant music in the background, and I'm going to play along as well. Now this will only run through once, so you need to watch and be careful. Okay, so it will only go through once tonight. But they are on screen for quite a few seconds, so hopefully you've got long enough to check them out. So if you are ready, we will start round 2, which is the picture quiz. Follow the instructions on screen and write your answers down. Let's go. Well, how'd you get on with that? That's interesting. I'm just going to count out how many I've written down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've written down 13 out of 21. And I've got an idea I've got at least one of those wrong, having seen a later picture, because I don't think one is in there twice. So how have you done? How many of you actually got written down? Before we actually look at the answers, who's actually managed to write down 21 answers? Has anybody managed to write down 21 answers on that? Do we get 2 points? Yeah, I think, well, I've just looked at the answer sheet. It's going to be difficult because not on all of them are place names. Jeff did ask for the what it is and where. So yeah, I mean, you can give yourself 2 points if you like, if you got the place and what it is. Okay, because most of these have got a place name as well. Okay, so yeah, you've all got quite a few down. So what I'm going to do then, are you ready to mark your own? Let me have a swig of coffee first. I'm going to run the answers through and let's see how we've done. So 2 points for each one, what it is and where it is. I think that's what Jeff asked us to do. So here we go then. Are you ready for the answers? Building and the White House. Capitol Building, Washington. Well, that was very interesting, wasn't it? I said to you that I'd written 13 down, I think. I actually got 11 and a half right. I got 23 points because number 4, Moscow, I'd actually put the Kremlin down in Moscow, not the cathedral. The other interesting ones for me was there was one was the entranceway to the tunnel under the Thames, the Brunel's tunnel under the Thames. Well, I've actually been through that loads and loads of times, and I did not recognise that dome. And the other one was number 15, which I'd actually watched a programme. I didn't get number 15. It was the Pantheon in Rome. But it's the oldest building made from concrete. The dome is made from concrete. And I remember watching a programme not long ago on this building and about the concrete that was used in it. But could I remember where it was? So that was really good, Jeff. I really, really enjoyed that. As I say, I scored 23. And I got, I answered 12 questions, but I got only 1 point for number 4 because I put the Kremlin in Moscow and not the cathedral in Moscow. So how did you do on that? 21, 26? Yeah, it was quite difficult. Some there I didn't have a clue on at all, to be honest. But I got things like Madame Tussauds and the Planetarium, St Paul's Cathedral, London, the White Tower at the Tower of London, the Eden Project in Cornwall. I got the chapel at Lulworth Castle, Brighton Pavilions. I got the Taj Mahal in India, the Albert Hall in London, St Peter's in Rome, the Millennium Dome or the O3, whichever you want to call it, in London, and I can't read that one now. Oh, the Capitol building in Washington DC. So those were ones that I got. But thank you, that was really, really good, and it was nice that I was actually able to join in as well. Yeah, but thank you, Jeff. Really, really good. And those rounds are nice. It just splits it up a little bit, doesn't it? Makes it a little bit different. So thank you for that. I'm now going to get ready for the final round, round 3. Let me get my quiz book back up. And make sure I haven't lost the answers to round 3. That's round 1. That's round 2. And that's round 3. So brilliant. I hope you enjoyed that round. I did, because I say it's one of those rounds where you can learn things, isn't it? And hopefully we will see that again. Michael's listened to a choir in the Pantheon. I bet it sounds really good in the Pantheon. I mean, I can imagine the sound in there with those domes. That dome was really, really good. So, okay, our final round tonight is our potluck round tonight. Let me get the right page open. Okay, I'm ready for our potluck round. So, are you ready? Oh God, I've just broken my clip. That's just pinged across the floor. Let me just check that nobody's trying to join the group or anything. No, that's good. Okay, I'll have to hold my book open. So, our final round tonight is potluck. 30 questions on potluck. Are you ready? Which animal appears on the front of a British passport with a lion? So it's not the lion, it's the animal which appears on the front of a British passport with a lion. Number 2. What does a theodolite measure? What does a theodolite measure? Number 3. Which poisonous gas is given off from a car exhaust? Which poisonous gas is given off from a car exhaust. Number 3. In Scotland, this is number 4. In Scotland, what are ig, muck and rum? I'm sure it's ig, E-I-G-G, muck and rum. In Scotland, what are ig, muck and rum? Number 5. In Channel 4's 2005 historical drama about the life of Elizabeth I, who played Elizabeth? So number 5. In Channel 4's 2005 historical drama about the life of Elizabeth I, who played Elizabeth? Number 6. Robert Menzies was Prime Minister of which country? Robert Menzies was Prime Minister of which country? Number 7. What is the currency of Poland? What is the currency of Poland? Number 8. The Two of Us was an autobiography about which actress and her late husband? The Two of Us was an autobiography about which actress and her late husband? Number 9. In maths, what is meant by 3 dots in a triangular formation? In maths, what is meant by 3 dots in a triangular formation? I know that one. Number 10. Traditionally, what does a Cooper make? I know that one too. Traditionally, what does a Cooper make? Number 11. Which motorway goes from east to west across the Pennines? Which motorway goes from east to west around the Pennines? Number 12. What are workers and drones type of? What are workers and drones types of? Number 13. What is the middle name of Winston S. Churchill? What is the middle name of Winston S. Churchill? Number 14. On what calendar date is Burns Night? On what calendar date is Burns Night? Number 15. What is the home of a beaver called? What is a home of a beaver called? Number 16. How many railway stations are there on a monopoly board? How many railway stations on a monopoly board? Number 17. What was the title of the movie sequel to 2016's Independence Day? Number 17. What was the title of the movie sequel to 2016's Independence Day? Number 18. What has the body of a lion and the head of a human? What has the body of a lion and the head of a human? Number 19. Who invented the method by which the blind can read by touch? Who invented the method by which the blind can read by touch? Here's another question for me. Who sang the Bond theme Goldfinger? Who sang the Bond theme Goldfinger? Number 21. What does a costermonger sell? What does a costermonger sell? Number 22. What did the Italian soldier Garibaldi give his name to? What did the Italian soldier Garibaldi give his name to? This is actually a pretty good round for me. I'll have done pretty well if I was doing this round. But the next question would have really stymied me, because it's football. How many Premiership sides did Millwall beat to reach the 2004 FA Cup final? How many Premiership sides did Millwall beat to reach the 2004 FA Cup final? I've not got a clue. Number 24. Which sea is north of Turkey? Which sea is north of Turkey? Number 25. What colour are the flowers of St. John's wort? What colour are the flowers of St. John's wort? Number 26. Segovia is associated with which musical instrument? Segovia is associated with which musical instrument? Number 27. Cold meat and cold potatoes can produce what dish? Cold meat and cold potatoes can produce what dish? Number 28. Which king is supposed to have hidden in a tree after the Battle of Worcester? Which king is supposed to have hidden in a tree after the Battle of Worcester? Number 29. Which brothers flew the first manned powered aeroplane? Number 29. Which brothers flew the first manned powered aeroplane? And number 30. The Heriot-Watt University is in which city? The Heriot-Watt University is in which city? Okay, so have a quick look at those. See if there's any you need to check on as we go through for a final quick read through, or if there were any that you didn't manage to answer at all, or those that you're a bit vague on and want to check your answer. Now's your chance to do a final check, reading through for one final time. Number 1. Which animal appears on the front of a British passport with a lion? Number 2. What does a theodolite measure? Number 3. Which poisonous gas is given off from a car exhaust? Number 4. In Scotland, what are egg, muck and rum? Number 5. In Channel 4's 2005 historical drama about the life of Elizabeth I, who played Elizabeth? Number 6. Robert Menzies was Prime Minister of which country? Number 7. What is the currency of Poland? Number 8. The Two of Us was an autobiography about which actress and her late husband? Number 9. In maths, what is meant by 3 dots in a triangular formation? Number 10. Traditionally, what does a Cooper make? Number 11. Which motorway goes from east to west across the Pennines? Number 12. What are workers and drones types of? Number 13. What is the middle name of Winston S. Churchill? Number 14. On what calendar date is Burns Night? Number 15. What is the home of a beaver called? Number 16. How many railway stations are there on a monopoly board? Number 17. What was the title of the movie sequel to 2016's Independence Day? Number 18. What has the body of a lion and the head of a human? Number 19. Who invented the method by which the blind can read by touch? Number 20. Who sang the Bond theme, Goldfinger? Number 21. What does a costermonger sell? Number 22. What did the Italian soldier Garibaldi give his name to? Number 23. How many Premiership sides did Millwall beat to reach the 2004 FA Cup final? Number 24. Which sea is off the north of Turkey? Number 25. What colour are the flowers of St John's wort? Number 26. Segovia is associated with which musical instrument? 27. Cold meat and cold potatoes can produce what dish? 28. Which king is supposed to have hidden in a tree after the Battle of Worcester? And 29. Which brothers flew the first manned-powered aeroplane? And finally, number 30. The Heriot-Watt University is in which city? Okay, are we ready? I have the answers. I will tell you what the answers are. Are you ready? Number 1 then. Which animal appears on the front of a British passport with a lion? It's a unicorn. Unicorn number 1. Number 2. What does a theodolite measure? It measures angles. Angles. Number 3. What or which poisonous gas is given off from a car exhaust? It is carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide. Number 4. In Scotland, what are Egg, Muck and Rum? They are islands. Islands. Number 4. Number 5. In Channel 4's 2005 historical drama about the life of Elizabeth I, who played Elizabeth? It was Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren. Number 6. Robert Menzies was Prime Minister of which country? It's Australia for number 6. Australia. Number 7. What is the currency of Poland? The zloty. The zloty. I don't know if that's how you say it. Z-L-O-T-Y. Zloty. Number 8. The Two of Us was an autobiography about which actress and her late husband? It was Sheila Hancock. Sheila Hancock. Number 9. In maths, what is meant by 3 dots in a triangular formation? It means therefore. Therefore. So something, something, therefore, something, something else. Number 10. Traditionally, what does a cooper make? They make barrels. Number 10, barrels. Number 11. Which motorway goes from east to west across the Pennines? It is the M62. The M62. Number 12. What are workers and drones type of? It's bees. Bees for number 12. Number 13. What is the middle name of Winston S. Churchill? Winston S. Churchill. It is Spencer. Spencer. Number 14. On what calendar date is Burns Night? It is the 25th of January. 25th of January, number 14. Number 15. What is the home of a beaver called? It's called a lodge. A lodge, number 15. Number 16. How many railway stations are there on a monopoly board? There are 4. 4 railway stations on a monopoly board. Number 17. What was the title of the movie sequel to 2016's Independence Day? It is Resurgence. Resurgence. Number 18. What has the body of a lion and the head of a human? It is the Sphinx. The Sphinx. Number 19. Who invented the method by which the blind can read by touch? Louis Braille. Louis Braille. And number 20. Who sang the Bond theme? Goldfinger. Diddle-diddle-doo. It was Shirley Bassey. Shirley Bassey, number 20. Number 21. What does a costermonger sell? A costermonger sells fruit and vegetables. Fruit and vegetables. Number 21. Number 22. What did the Italian soldier Garibaldi give his name to? It was a biscuit. That lovely flat biscuit with currants or raisins in whatever it is that it has in it. Little black bits anyway. Number 23. How many Premiership sides did Millwall beat to reach the 2004 FA Cup final? The answer is none. I'm guessing because the FA Cup final is nothing to do with the Premiership. There are two separate leagues and different teams playing in them. But that's probably as much as I know about football. So number 23 is none. Number 24. Which sea is north of Turkey? It is the Black Sea. Number 24. Black Sea. Number 25. What colour are the flowers of St John's wort? They are yellow. St John's wort flowers are yellow. Number 26. Segovia is associated with which musical instrument? It is a guitar. A guitar. Number 26. Number 27. Cold meat and cold potatoes can produce what dish? It is bubble and squeak. Bubble and squeak. Like me, you're probably going to say you need some vegetables in it as well. But that's the answer in the book. Bubble and squeak. Number 28. Which king is supposed to have hidden in a tree after the Battle of Worcester? It's Charles II. Charles II. Number 29. Which brothers flew the first manned-powered aeroplane? It is the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers. One was called Orville, and I can't remember what the other one was called. Yeah, can't remember. I'm sure one was Orville. And number 30. The Heriot-Watt University is in which city? The answer is Edinburgh. Number 30. Edinburgh. So that squash fly biscuits, yeah, they got little black bits in them. They're quite nice actually. I do like the old Garibaldi biscuits. I have to be honest. So how did you do with that round? Did you do okay? Let me tick that one off. I've got to remember to tick them off in the book so I don't pick the round again when I open the book. So let's do page 193 as well. How did you do? Wilbert, that's it. Wilbert and Orville, that's it. Yeah, I couldn't remember the other one. The Wright brothers. It was that funny, very light plane, wasn't it? It was very made up of like sticks and held together with rope. It didn't look very sort of airworthy, but they did manage to fly about 100 yards, I think, with their first flight, or something like that. So well done to the Wright brothers. We're all doing very well. 25, 16, 21, 22, 20, 19.
Can you repeat 30?
Can I repeat 30? What the answer to 30? Heriot-Watt University was in Edinburgh for Denise downstairs because she missed it. Heriot-Watt University is in Edinburgh. Or Edinburgh, as I used to call it when I was younger. 18 for John. Paula, 18. Doug and Maureen, 16. Angela, 20. Michael, 22. There is no meat in Bubble and Squeak. Isn't there? Maybe they've got that wrong then, Meredith. I thought Bubble and Squeak actually you could just chuck anything in that was left. Although predominantly vegetables in our house, it always was potato and vegetables. But the book says meat and potatoes, but the book is probably wrong because we know the book is occasionally wrong. But sometimes we think the book is Bubble and Squeak, potatoes and sprites. Oh, sprites, horrible. Oh, can't think of anything worse than sprites, Evelyn. They only come out once, and that's at Christmas, and they don't go on my plate. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lords and ladies, reverends and non-reverends, that brings us to the end of our quiz for tonight. It's 8:45. Thank you all for joining us yet again for another week, and we'll be here the same time next week, or we plan to be here the same time next week, 7:30, for another 3 rounds of something or other. If you would like to contribute a round, if you'd like to do a picture quiz, or something like that, or a musical quiz, we've got to be very careful with copyright and things, but do give me a call. Drop me an email, gary@parishofwykeregis.org.uk. Michael Dilliston's done one for us. Jeff's done, I think, 2 now for us. So yeah, it's always splits things up a bit, so it makes it nice for everybody. It means I can join in as well. But thank you for joining us. Don't forget our parish news programme at 6 o'clock on the Saturday as well. You'll probably enjoy that. And again, if you've got any stories for the parish news programme, or anything that you know is going on in the following week, do let us know, because we can advertise it and tell people about it. It's there just as a community service. We can decide what goes in and goes out. We're not answerable to a board of governors or anything like the BBC. Basically, I put it together with the help of a few other people, and we can decide what we put in. So if you want to share anything, do let us know. If you're having a birthday, let us know. We always give a shout out for anybody having a birthday or a wedding anniversary or something like that. So I'll say good night to you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you want to join us tomorrow for our Sunday morning service, that will be at 9:30 on our Facebook group, our YouTube channel, and on Twitter Periscope, as well as on our own website at www.parishofwykeregis.org.uk. And if you want to watch it on the website, you just go down on the left hand side to see the picture of the television, and you click on the television, and that will take you to the dedicated live streaming page on our website. So plenty of options to find us and to watch us if you want to. If not, I will say good night, and I will see you next week at the same time. Have a good week, have a good evening, and a good weekend, and thanks for joining me tonight.